And here is Chapter 2. Welcome to Episode 2 of DanOvision, the blog. The vblog. The web blog. Whatever the shit you kids call it these days. Alright? Alright, so we're going to talk about college. College is a serious deal these days. Okay? Anybody who has gone to college in the last few years knows college is a scam. Student loans are the biggest scam of them all. Having a degree, piece of paper, it doesn't mean anything. It's just now a piece of paper, okay? Because you know why? It's a minimum requirement for anything. You want to go live in another country and escape this crazy country known as America? You gotta have the piece of paper, bachelor's degree. Yep. Either that or you gotta marry somebody in another country. Yeah, the visa process is kind of weird there. There's several different ways you can get in, but that's one of the ways. Or have family in another country. Okay, so my first adventure starts at ITT. Originally, I was still educating myself on video editing and some level design at home in the basement of my parents' house on Dover Street in Colorado. And I'm a late bloomer. I was a late person getting out because I was a mama's boy. My mom took good care of me. So, I'm going to admit that. I went around trying to improve my own life, but my mom still took care of me. I'll admit that. No shame there. Not this day and age, anyway. Okay, so I was thinking about going to college. It ran across my mind. I had a stepdad who I didn't necessarily agree with, named Les, and we butt heads constantly. We practically despise each other, and it's mainly because I went through multiple stepdads at that point, because my real dad was never there for me. My mom moved out on him, and, she went through multiple boyfriends, so to speak, that all of them were irresponsible, juvenile dipshits, if you ask me, except for one, but he just didn't want any part of the insanity. And personally, I don't know, me and him never really got along because I always felt that he didn't talk to me very much. And if I'm going to have somebody as a father figure, you got to talk to me. That's just a thing. Okay, well, Les, my stepdad, and now my current dad, as I will call him and respect him as, and I'll explain how that came to be eventually. My dad basically recommended, well, why don't you go to ITT? I'm thinking, well, I need to research something about this ITT. I heard good things about it, but I don't really feel on the level with it. And Dad's like, no, nonsense. This is right down the street. Just go down there. I'll take you down there. I'm like, so I felt kind of pressured. I didn't get a chance to research it. Not his fault. I just didn't speak up. I should have spoke up and said, well, give me time to research it. Shame on me. I got there, went to go do the preliminary examination test. God, I've been out of school for several years before that, because I got my GED in 2000, and the reason I got my GED is because the education system at Bear Creek High School was dicking me around. I wanted 2 different classes from them that were required for my future possible job employment, which I believe at the time I was looking to work for Blizzard. I was somebody who I wanted to work at, and they're like, well, you got to have this many years of experience in this and this. I'm like, well, okay, fine. I'll make sure my high school gives me this and this. And the school didn't want to do that. So after fighting them, they busted me down to like 3 classes and a lunch period. Okay, so I would have been in high school for, like 5 years in order to meet all my credits. I've already got done spending 2 years going to high school before that. And the reason was because I was constantly got in fights in high school, and, I also slacked off quite a bit because they weren't really teaching me anything. Just a little background there. I was a highly educated kid up until about 6th grade, basically in an individualized education program, advanced student, and I guess somebody on the higher up decided that my school books were costing too much money, so they cut me out of the IEP, and they moved me over to the special education class. Yes, where I got to spend time with kids who had 3-letter names that couldn't spell their own names. Yep, I lost interest pretty quick when they put me back on basic algebra. And then somebody decided, well, your kid's probably got some sort of, mental disorder, and do. So, next thing I know, they're diagnosing me for ADD and ADHD. Okay, well, that went through. My mom basically took that hook, line, and sinker. Technically I am, I'm not going to lie. And they got me on medication. Well, before I got on medication, I just basically started falling asleep in class and just being kind of a shithead. I had attitude problems as a kid. I still have attitude problems to an extent, but I keep them under wraps normally. But in these videos, you're going to see my attitude come out full-blown. So don't take this as an actual representation of my normal behavior. Anyhow, they got me on the medication and tried to stabilize me out. Well, guess what? The medication actually put me to sleep. I actually started falling asleep in classes that I didn't mean to fall asleep into, and they're like, well, your kid's just a real problem. And my grades took a tank pretty quick, and I got so far behind on homework, my mom tried to help me on the winter breaks, and it was just miserable. It wasn't because I was uneducated or anything like that. I usually blew through the tests like they were nothing. They're like, well, how is it you can do the test so easily, but you don't do the homework? And I'm like, because I don't do homework. I don't take my work home with me. Okay, what I do at home is my work at home. I don't do schoolwork at home. That's what school is for, okay? And, I never wrap my head around the concept of homework. Some people have lives. I had a life. It wasn't a very productive one, but it was one I enjoyed. Okay, I loved writing comics as a kid, and I loved telling stories, and I still love telling stories. And, another comic I came up with later was based off a fascination of Aesop's fables and the Warner Brothers cartoons and whatnot, and that is I got a soft spot for anthropomorphic characters. Okay, I don't really care for human characters all that much because they're too relatable. They're too there. Everything's human. Superheroes are human, or alien that looks remarkably human. Star Trek is, human, regardless of what kind of facial putty and crap they put on. Star Trek's awesome, don't get me wrong, but it's human, okay? Let's call it what it is. It's human. Okay, and I don't know, I like the concept of giving the persona a different canvas, giving it fur, giving it colors, giving it different attributes like teeth, claws, tails, ears, whatever. I thought that was cool. Does that make me a furry? No. No, it doesn't. I've got some interest in female anthropomorphic art. Yes. Won't lie about that. Porn doesn't do anything for me. For anybody who's about to throw in a smart-ass comment about that, just so you know. Nude art doesn't do anything for me. I basically use it for drawing reference, and that's about it, when I actually have the inspiration to draw, that is. And most of those female drawings I usually keep to myself, or usually destroy shortly after I realize that it's not good enough for my standards. Moving on. This video might be a bit longer, because I'm going to cover a couple things. I got trailed off. I originally started with the student loan thing. Okay. So I went to ITT. They said, okay, fine, well, we have a game design program. It's been here since 2000. It's 2004, by the way, when I enrolled. And unfortunately, there's not enough students going there at the time, but I'm sure by the time you get done doing a prerequisite, which is a game, no, it was a multimedia design. Multimedia design was the prerequisite, associate's degree. And I'm like, I don't need an associate's degree. It's toilet paper. It's a piece of paper that says you can do this in your parents' basement. That's all it is. Associate's degree is junk. And they're like, well, you got to take it as a prerequisite. So I took it. Oh yes, I took it. I fell for it. My parents fell for it because they're like, well, you have no other alternative. They said you got to take it. You got to take it. So I'm doing pretty good. I'm just cranking out, going along with classes, Found 3 teachers I actually kind of liked. Then I met the 2 teachers. The 2 teachers that ruined my educational system. No, not really. But they did make it hell on me. And that was a black guy who was the calculus teacher. Calculus 2, Calculus 3. He did both of those. And what an interesting fellow. I swear, he had a couple screws loose, okay? And he had these 26-foot by 4.5-foot whiteboards on three sides of the room. Today I'm going to explain to you this formula problem. 45 minutes later. It's that easy! Teach. Yeah, in about a week you're about to give me a quiz, which is going to have about 90 questions on it. You're going to give me about approximately 120 minutes. That math doesn't really add up very much. You just took 45 minutes to explain one math problem. We get a problem. Is there a way you can teach me to do this in, say, under a minute? Yes! But that's not what I'm here to teach you. Then you are useless to me, teacher! Yeah. So, I decided to go see the tutor. Guess what? The tutor was him as well. Yes, my tutor was the psychotic math teacher, yet again. He tried to break it down simpler. He only made it worse. Okay, I'm not stupid. I can wrap my head around simplifying stuff, okay? So, whatever he was trying to explain, I don't quite remember it quite well now, but it was just as convoluted, if not worse, than what he was trying to explain on the 3 whiteboards of death that I practically lost attention on. Okay, I have a fairly short attention span, not gonna lie. Okay, and by fairly short, I say my average attention span's probably about, depending on the subject, 5 to 15 minutes. Okay, if you can't buy me within 5 to 15 minutes, like pretty much everybody on YouTube, then you're probably going to lose my attention. Okay? Yeah. Moving on. It came down to the point where I was probably going to fail the class, so I had all this online homework because some genius at the school decided to make half the work in class, half the work as an online course. Brilliant! Brilliant! Let's have half the class where you're not around a teacher who can help you. Because it's cheap, easy, and affordable to do. While you pay $43,000 to do it. For outdated material at that, and a website designed by some amateur college student. Well, needless to say, I boiled down a decision. I'm going to say, this is my dirty secret. I paid another student who is a straight-A student in the subject $100 to do all the homework for me, and then show me how he did it, each problem. And he simplified it. He dumbed it down for me. So I bribed a student to help me and do it for me. Now, I also learned how to do it from him, and I've come to learn that I've had absolutely no use for calculus ever since. Joy. It was either $100 here, or $34.80 to take the course again. And I mean $3,480, by the way, for those who don't understand. I think my math is working pretty good. I think I did good. Then there was the English teacher. English is one of my stronger subjects, okay? I can write my way out of, concrete wall, okay? Not a problem. Throw me in a box of concrete, I can write my way out of it. Well, probably not literally, but you know what I'm saying. And I wrote a thesis paper on something. I can't remember what the hell it was. And the teacher claimed that I plagiarized it. And I'm like, plagiarize? I spent 13 days writing this damn thesis, okay? This is a substantial chunk of paper, okay? It's like, well, I can reference Google. It's like, well, we can all reference shit from Google. Everything that's been said has been said before, and, the internet, somebody said something before that everybody else has probably used at one point or another. So, yeah, you're probably going to find some sort of material that you can reference, in my article that I wrote, versus something on the internet where pretty much 3.4 billion people are connected online on a daily basis. I would certainly hope you could find something, because I hate to imagine I said something original. Yeah, and then I decided to rewrite the whole thing in a half-ass format because of time constraints. Well, you just didn't put enough effort behind this, and it's like, my God, I have an English Nazi for a teacher. What's good enough for you? What is your middle ground? What is too lazy? What is too much? What is not real? What is real? So, needless to say, while I was struggling on my grades, because at the same time I was also having constant arguments with my old man, and things didn't go out too well between me and him. I decided to ask the program director of game design to see if the program was going to be available in 3 months when I was about to graduate. If I could graduate. And, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Well, we transferred this guy's the new head of the program. Okay, I'll go talk to him then. Simple enough. Hey, do you know if this game program's going to be up and available soon? Well, actually, apparently there weren't enough students, and that I don't quite know. I think you'll have to talk, to the head director. Really? Really? Who knows? Who knows about this program that you're all supposed to be in head of? Fine, I'll go above your head, and then I will go and take on the next person. So I worked my way up the chain of command. Nobody could give me an answer. Game designer was apparently a non-existent course. For all I know, it never existed. Apparently, for several years prior to me, that course never existed because there were never enough students. 9 is not enough students, apparently. Oh, you motherfuckers. So, I went to the dean of the school. Yes, I talked to the dean, the head dude, the chief, whatever the hell his title was. He was the grand poobah of, the entire school. And I'm like, hey, look, I came into this school, and I signed up this lady. She told me that I had to take up this program as a prerequisite. No, she didn't. What? What? No, she didn't. What do you mean, no, she didn't? She couldn't have possibly said that. Excuse me? Excuse me? I believe I heard you wrong. There's no way that she could have possibly said that, because it's not considered a prerequisite. Sorry, but that's exactly what she told me, my mom, and my dad. So are you calling all 3 of us liars? Yes, because there's no way that she possibly said that. Wow, you've got some audacity, buddy. Okay, fine. Bring her on in here. We'll settle this. We'll get it squared up. Well, she don't look at work some more. Ain't that fucking convenient? So what did I do? I got my paperwork together. I got a transcript of my grades, and I went and left the school because somebody was getting scammed. Me! I was getting scammed, and guess what? My parents didn't co-sign on the loan, so yes. Sally Mae owned my ass at that point. So to keep the, student loan thing just kind of rolling along, I figured I was going to go towards master degree, but yeah, that didn't go anywhere. Went to Westwood College. Walked in the door, and they're like, well, you got anybody to co-sign for you? No. I'm going to walk in here, and I'm going to take on the student loan. Sign me up for Sally Mae, and let's continue the loan program. Yeah, they didn't want to do that. So, in came my dad. Okay, my dad's kind of a biker guy, and he's not the kind of person that you could just look him straight in the face and keep your opinion when he gives you that scowly look. Because you get these little wrinkles on his forehead, and he's got this long silvery hair, and he's got that really intimidating, you don't want to fuck with me look. And sure enough, sure as shit, after he gave him that look, well, we got this thing called the Apex loan. Yeah, later on I found out that was a scam too. And the Apex loan can help you get into at a fixed rate. Well, fine, do it. So I got signed in. Went to game design for Westwood College. Had some teacher named Brad or something as my art teacher, and I drew my ass off for one drawing. I made this metal dragon with the dragon slayer and whatnot. And the guy just tore it up, and he's like, "It's not good enough." I'm like, "Wow, you're an ass." Well, I drew that Dracolich thing, this, Saffron for World of Warcraft. The loading screen with the dragon? Yeah, I drew that. I'm going to try to find that. I'm going to go back and see if he actually drew that. Because you know what? You need to encourage your students to do better Not, be like, it's not good enough, rip, 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 rip. You spent 13 days on, 10, 12 days on this. Doesn't matter. You're a terrible artist. And when I saw the other artists that I had to go to school with, it kind of killed my mood for wanting to draw. And, because I realized, man, getting in this field, I'm nothing. I got a stylized art, but I don't even have a set style. I just sketch out stuff. I'm a sketch artist. I just come up with concepts and prototypes for how things should look, and I'd probably never really even finish my own art half the time. And the one time I finish my art, somebody tears it up and tells everybody in class that it's terrible, even though it was probably the best thing I've ever drawn in my entire life. Yeah, ain't that demoralizing? Anyhow, at that particular time that I was going to Westwood College, I moved out of my stepdad, who aka my dad. And because we had disagreements and disputes, which I will not share on here, just out of respect for him and for my mom mainly, because I respect my mom like that. I don't know about you guys and your younger generations, but I'm cool with my mom. We're tight, okay? She's more like a sister to me than a mother, so I respect her cool like that. They say you shouldn't be friends with your kid. You should be a parent. Well, guess what? If you're too much of a parent, we don't want to listen to you. So you know what? Rethink your strategy. Because you know what? Kids aren't stupid anymore. They're stupid, but they're not stupid. We live in a technological information age where everybody has access to instant information anytime they want. So don't berate your children thinking that they're idiotic. They probably know more than you do in certain things. Even the stupidest person is not good at something beyond you. Okay? So I never think that, retarded people are completely inept, because there's something that they can do better than somebody else. And you know what? You always got to look for that factor. Anyhow, I moved out on him. I got in with some roommates. My first roommate was my friend who we called Scary Gary, namely because he had a body odor issue that was just horrifying, because if he sat on your couch, he would just stink up the place. And very disrespectful towards his parents and whatnot. Had a lot of authority issues, and he basically got free room and board with his grandma as part of a half house where he had his own part of the house and she had her own part of the house, and they were completely segmented apart as two separate houses. And all he had to do was come out and help once in a while. Pretty fair deal. I was out working full time and going to college at the time. And that was pretty stressful. A lot of stress. And, I came home, bring home groceries and whatnot. All I asked him to do is clean the kitchen. He couldn't even fucking do that. And, eventually, I left. I left and I moved in with some other Iowegian guys. Zach and Nick and his buddy Dan. And, no, Nate. Nate, not Nick. Nate. And, yeah, I am not quite sure what to really say about those guys. But I knew I was getting screwed on rent somewhere, and I invited my buddy Jason that I met inside of Westwood College, and that's another fun story I'll tell you. I met my buddy Jason, and I said, well, shit, if you're having a problem, why don't you come over and live with us? We got another room we need, and, help split the rent down a bit. Yeah, it didn't really make the rent any cheaper. The guy who was subleasing it through us, Sash, or whatever the hell his name was, dude was driving a Beater at one point, and after we started paying the rent on a regular basis, that dude's riding around a Beamer. Somebody's getting screwed. Okay? That guy just went upscale big time in a vehicle. So he was making some good money off of us. So, during all this, and all this stress and all this drama, we decided to want to move out. And at that point, we were getting ready to move over closer to the college. And what was it? Jason's vehicle got towed, and as did Nate's vehicle. Well, guess what? Nobody had money except for me, because I had $3,000 stored up. It was kind of a fail-safe pillow cushion just in case stuff went to hell. And Jason told me, I want to move out. You name a day. Name a day, Jason, we'll go. We will move out. I will have the moving truck here. He told me Saturday or Sunday, and I had the truck there on that day. And that's the day that the vehicles got towed because the upscale neighborhood considered Jason's steadily falling apart car unsightly, and Nate wasn't supposed to be parked there either, even though he lives here. You know what? I hate you upstate people. It's like, well, your cars are bringing in the looks and the aesthetics of this neighborhood, and wah. You just had somebody's cars towed, and it cost me somewhere in the ballpark of $468 to cover them both. I don't think I ever got that money back, by the way. As a matter of fact, I think I got it compensated to me by having the rent covered by Jason and Dot when we moved to the other house, and I got unemployed for a while. That's how I got that paid back. Okay? And all the drama, apartment, living arrangements, I'll explain that in another chapter. All that crap basically caused me to just get too stressed, and I ended up having to drop out of school because I was .015 credits away from being appealed to continuing on. Basically, I was just under a D. Just under a D. Well, I tried to get an appeal, and the game director of Westwood College was a dick and basically shot me down. So, a couple months later, student loans started hitting in. They started sending me paperwork 4 times a week. Sally Mae was basically fueling my non-existent fireplace. Yeah. So ever since then, I've made 7 payments to them, I believe, so far, and because food and roof above my head and internet are more important to me, and gas in my car to get back and forth to work, well, up until I lost my car, that is, were more important, I basically got thrown in debt on the student loans, and they wrecking balled my credit. I went from something like 940 credit to like 210, 175, something stupid low, where I went to be able to get a yacht and nobody would blink, nobody would be bat an eye, to now where I can't even, I can't even walk in to get a loan for, to buy myself lunch. I hate student loans, and I hate colleges. Do I plan on going back? Not to an American college. But I have to get my bachelor's degree one way or another, so that's a war that's eventually going to be fought at another time. Moving on. That's this chapter.